You know what? Necrophilia, nothing really wrong with it.
Yep, I agree. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dopecast.
Oh my god, we're back.
Season 2, I suppose. Yes, we are indeed back. This is episode 12, or episode 1 in season 2 or something. But let's call it episode 12 because it's easier to sort it that way. Where have we been, Andersen? What have we done?
Oh, we've been everywhere doing everything. Traveling the world, dating supermodels, living in our parents' basements.
Living the high life, yeah, definitely. Also known as just not bothering with the podcast for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what happened? It was fun. I'm still having fun. I'm having fun right now. I'm glad we're doing it again. But why did we just stop?
I really enjoyed it. I honestly think we just ran out of steam. I really feel like constantly bringing up topics, constantly having to find guests and so on. Just, burnout.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fair investment of time, to be honest. Like, even though we're just sitting down for like an hour or two talking, there's still sort of the stuff around it. And I suppose both of us aren't really the most stable people when it comes to keeping dates and appointments and that kind of stuff.
Nah, that can be tricky.
Yeah. So what have you been up to since last
we
heard from you? Yes.
Oh, let's see. Not really much. Video games, hanging out with my girlfriend.
So nothing new? No new apartment or got a cat or something like that? Nothing
interesting.
Nothing even slightly interesting?
I'm growing out my beard slightly more. I think that's the biggest news story of my life right now.
All right. Are you still training at the gym? Are you still getting in shape?
I really want to say yeah and talk about all my gains and all my progress and shit, but I've kind of fallen off.
Oh no.
I want to get back on. Like every week, almost every day, I'm like, okay, I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to get off my ass. I'm going to get started again. Once I get into the swing of it, it'll be fine. And
yesterday you said tomorrow. Just do it!
Yeah, I've literally been doing that since New Year's. I've been to the gym like twice since New Year's.
Oh dear.
How about you?
Well, I mean, that happens, I guess. Especially during winter, I feel it's difficult to keep this shit up. But
how about you?
Yeah,
you were on that
you
fancy gimmick diet.
Yeah, I've been on my fancy gimmick diet and it's working. Still working, still losing those kilograms, although slowing down slightly.
Well, that would happen.
Yeah.
Are you counting calories at all, or just sticking to what you...
I did for a while, but it is tedious as fuck, so I stopped. Basically, this diet is designed so that you can eat until you're full. But it also relies on sort of learning to know your body. And like, I don't know, previously when you have a plate of food, it feels like you should finish it. Even if you don't actually, even if you're not actually hungry enough to eat it all.
I think most of us were raised that way. Finish your plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck off. It's a terrible thing to learn.
Exactly. It's sort of a mental adjustment as well, where you sort of have to like accept that you don't have to eat that much. I don't know, sometimes when you like buy candy or chips or something and eat it, you would just end up feeling like gross and bloated, and that's not a good feeling, and like, that's not happening anymore, which is very nice.
With crisps, it's always been like I really enjoy the first half of the bag.
Yeah,
and then the second half of the bag, it's like, well, I mean, I bought it, I gotta finish it. It was fucking 20 crowns.
Exactly. Like, well, I guess we better finish this. I suppose I should say, for people who might not be into the situation, that I'm doing a low-carb, high-fat diet. Basically, I've cut out all sugar, potato, rice, pasta, all that kind of stuff, bread. I haven't eaten bread for half a year now. I really miss bread. I can easily do without candy and crisps and all this, but bread, man, bread is so fucking delicious.
That's funny. I've heard that many, many times from people on those kinds of diets.
Yeah.
That bread ends up being what they miss the most.
You don't realize how like integral bread is. Like the morning you make toast or like a sandwich, and then like between meals you might just, I mean, you just take some butter out of the fridge and put it on, and like a slice of cheese or something. It's so easy. It's such a simple thing. and that gone, it's difficult. I can't eat fruit either, so it's difficult to find like snacks like that.
I don't actually eat that much bread. I probably only eat bread like 2-3 times a week, but you know, I wouldn't pass up on that.
Yeah. I mean, unless you intentionally did it, so to say.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't cut it out of my diet, even though it's not that big of a staple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bread is basically just flour and sugar, especially like white bread. It's really unhealthy for you, at least in terms of like, what is it called? GI index? I don't know if that's a Swedish thing. Like glycemic index?
Yeah, glycemic index.
Yeah, like it makes your blood sugar spike basically, and then you get hungry again really quickly after eating white bread. So
yeah, trying to get back into the swing of things. Well,
yeah, I should point out, or we should point out, there's no guest on this time. We thought we'd refamiliarize our listeners to our voices again, and we'll have a guest on next time for sure. We've got some interesting people lined up, hopefully. More people from the Dopelives community again. I mean, that's kind of what this podcast is, so that's kind of what we're sticking to.
And for those guests, we will, as usual, have a line of questioning.
Yes.
So let's start by going through those questions. Let people get refamiliarized with us.
Yes, sounds like a good idea. We've trimmed them down a little bit, and they were a little bit bloated last time around, but...
yeah, and I saw we didn't have a question of the week, so I added one, but we'll take that when we get to it.
Oh, I just saw it. That's great. All right. Do you want to start? Do you want to interview me?
Sure. How old are you, and where are you from?
I'm 12, and I live in California.
And what is this?
No, I'm 23. I'm from Belarus or Sweden, depending on who you ask. Let's just say both. How about yourself, Andersen?
I'm legitimately surprised that you're only 23. I actually thought you were like mid-20s, like 25, 26.
Well, I'm getting there, but no.
You're a fucking kid.
Yes.
I am 33, and I am from Denmark.
Fucking old man. It's ridiculous.
I don't remember who it was, but we did find someone in the community who was like a year and a half older than me.
Isn't Flippin like older than you?
No. Flippin is like barely 30.
Oh.
I was...
Volume is older than you, I think. Or
I think he might be the one.
He might be 30-ish or something. I don't know, whatever.
Remember Soul Silver?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody thought he was older than me, but turns out I was actually like 4 or 8 months older than him.
Soul Silver looks like an old man. He looks like 50. He could easily pass for 50.
Yeah, he looks worn out. Poor guy. Anyway, let's not talk shit about Soul Silver.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's really weird though that you're 33. Like, it's still a weird mental thing where like I'm like quote unquote hanging out with a 33-year-old.
Yeah, we're
we
peers.
Are friends. We share interests. Yeah, exactly. We're peers. It's really weird. It's something that when you were, I don't know, 16 or something, it's almost unthinkable. They're like weird adults, you know. But no, you're perfect. Wow, you're perfectly normal. You're no different from any other person in this community in that sense.
To justify it, I am childish as hell.
That's true. I mean, my brother is like that age, and we don't have that much in common. I don't know. I guess it's just our interests, really. Like,
I guess as you advance in age, having interests in common start weighing heavier than kind of being on the same level maturity wise.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like in school, you hang around with kids your own age, because you were in the same class and stuff, regardless of if you shared any interests or hobbies and that kind of stuff. But then later on, I guess you sort of seek friends that share your interests in a different way.
Yeah, you kind of you grow to be freer to choose the parameters of why you socialize with people.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the same is true for relationships as well, like sexual or romantic relationships.
Yeah, I mean...
It gets less weird to have an age gap when the numbers get older, so to say.
A 16-year-old dating a 13-year-old, that's pretty shady.
Yeah, that's super shady.
But no one would even blink at a 29-year-old dating a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's the same age gap.
Or even a 29-year-old dating a 23-year-old. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. Right, so what is the story of your nickname? Why are you SirAndersen?
I have the most interesting story of my nickname ever. My last name is Andersen. That got me to Mr. Andersen, and then at some point in chat, mistabs were just happening all over the place. Cause I
What's a mistab?
IRC thing. When you want to type someone's name quickly, you just type the first few letters and you press tab, and it auto-completes the name. And mistaps were just happening left and right with me because I literally think at one point there were 5 people in chat, Mr. Meat Cleaver and myself included, whose names begun with Mr. Yep. So I just, okay, what's a replacement for Mr.? Okay, Sir. So SirAndersen. It's riveting. It's fascinating. I know you practically you needed to strap yourself to the chair. To
it
not
is
do
incredibly riveting. I mean, I was expecting something about how you were knighted in the British Army or something and got the Lord title and all this. That's why your name is Sir, but I guess not.
So why are you the Dopefish?
I'm not the Dopefish. The Dopefish is another guy who plays All Points Bulletin.
Is it?
Yes, there's a guy who goes by the name The Dopefish. And I get confused for him a lot. People keep asking me like, "Hey Dope, when are you gonna go back to playing All Points Bulletin? We miss you." Like, please, it's not me.
Shush.
Yeah. Dopefish is a character from a game called Commander Keen. It is like an enemy that eats you, like a boss monster fish thing. It's the green fish you know as the Dopefish. It was used as a Easter egg in various sort of 90s retro PC games like Doom and Quake and Unreal Tournament and various other games like that had it as an Easter egg. The phrase like Dopefish lives was sort of an inside joke amongst those people who had worked at id Software. At Apogee rather, and then later on also id Software.
Okay,
so they put this in as a joke. And then I was on an internet forum called 4chan. I'm sure you've heard of it. They have a board full for video games.
So you're saying you're a pedophile?
Yes, Pedofish Lives, or Pedofish Elvis is the best anagram for Dopefish Lives. But yeah, I was on 4chan, and I wanted a name. So I picked that, because I was into like those retro type games at the time.
Okay.
And then I created the live stream, used that name, and it's stuck ever since.
Do you ever regret picking Dopefish? Do you ever think like you should have had something cooler or something else?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. The problem with Dopefish is that it's not unique. As we've already said, the Dopefish is a guy, and there's a few other people who go by the name Dopefish.
You know what you should change it to? Because you do sound pretty obviously Swedish. You should just change it to Dopefiskan. That's unique.
Brajfiren. There you go. That's the Swedish translation for it. Yeah, I suppose so. But, I mean, I have no problem with it. It is a little bit of a shame. I kind of stumbled into it, I guess. But it works. It works.
All right. So, what do you do for a living?
Nothing. Actually, currently I study. So I get, like, government assistance for that. Like, extended study something or another. I don't know what the translation of it is. But, yeah, that's it. I dropped out of basically college. It's called gymnasium. That word doesn't mean the same thing, but yeah, it's like upper high school / college. I dropped out of that when I was 16, so quite a few years ago, and then I did nothing for a long time, and then I slowly started to like decide that I needed that degree done, because eventually I intend to continue studying at a university. So right now I'm basically doing courses from home at like, I guess community college would be the international understood way of explaining what I am doing.
So what are you studying?
Oh, yeah, right now, I mean, I've been studying like Swedish and English and maths and stuff, just basic stuff.
General education.
Yeah, general education. Right now I'm doing psychology, psychiatry, and programming.
Aha.
Which is really difficult. The fucking psychiatry course is insane. But yeah. What are you doing for a living, Andersen?
Even less.
Has it changed since last time around?
No, I am still on sick welfare, going on, 5 years now.
Like medical retirement?
No,
or
because
not quite.
They actually refused a medical retirement. So I'm in this kind of project right now to try to work with my resources and try to see if we can basically figure out a way to get me back to working.
Right.
And one avenue that we're going to explore there is actually programming.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. So, is it like work placement stuff where you like get to like go out in?
I'm pretty sure.
In the field.
I'm pretty sure we'll get to that, but we're nowhere near that yet.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of the later steps.
Fair enough. How long have you been unemployed / sick / whatever?
5 years, give or take.
What did you do before then?
Immediately before that, I was a handicap helper.
Like a
personal helper to a guy in a wheelchair who suffered from what's it even called in English? Muscular dystrophy. Basically, he could wiggle one hand a little bit and move his head. That's all he could.
So like full Stephen Hawking mode.
Full Stephen Hawking mode. No, he could talk, but other than that,
okay,
yeah.
I see. Was he mentally sound?
I don't think he had any actual mental illness.
Like he wasn't retarded. He was just his body was broken.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a, I don't know, demanding job. How did that go?
It went fine initially. Basically the reason I stopped, he fired me at a point where I was basically looking to quit anyway.
Okay.
Basically because we ultimately didn't get along.
Oh. Just interpersonally, you mean?
I thought he was a bit of a dick. He thought I was a bit of an ass. We just rubbed each other the wrong way in the long run.
But dicks and asses go together perfectly fine.
Shut up, kid.
Reminder, Futa is gay.
Futa is gay.
Fair enough. How did you end up getting that job? I've never heard this story.
I applied.
Oh, okay. That was interesting.
He was living in Copenhagen and was moving to the town where my girlfriend lives, which is like a lot closer. So I drove all the way to Copenhagen to basically do the job interview. And then I went home, and I think 3 weeks later he moved, and then I started working for him.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Do you have education in that field at all, or was
Not
it
at
just
all.
like totally random?
Not at all.
Did you find it through like unemployment office?
I don't actually remember where I found it.
All right.
Probably.
It seems like knowing you, it seems like a strange job for you to just randomly find. Have you done other stuff in that kind of field?
No. Other than that, let's see. I've been a chef at a Mexican restaurant, Tex-Mex restaurant, I should probably say.
A chef.
Well,
so actually preparing food.
I was the guy who put the food together. So yeah.
Oh. Wow.
I've worked at a sawmill, putting together pallets. And I've worked in a factory putting together like elements for the front of buildings.
Putting together elements. Now I have become God. He's working at a nuclear power plant. Elements for what? Sorry, I totally...
like the facades of buildings, like
I see.
window frames and shit.
Okay. Well, I mean, some of those, or most of those kind of go together. Maybe not the chef, but I don't know. Like personal care or whatever, being a personal assistant seems to be the odd one out.
Brainless
somehow.
manual labor, jump to chef, hate chef, jump to personal care.
Yeah, fair enough. Was it through an agency, or was it like him hiring you?
It was him.
Oh, okay. So you were literally like a personal assistant.
He had full discretion in hiring and firing his own staff.
Oh, cool.
He basically just got an allotment from the government saying you can have so and so many hours of staff. In his case, it was 24 hours a day every day, because that is the degree of care he needed.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then he was basically responsible for doing the hiring, making sure we got paid and everything.
All right.
So he was kind of his own little business. His personal care was his own business.
Yeah, that's really nice. I really like that system of having sort of a stipend from the government for him to spend, rather than having a sort of a governmental position to be filled. I bet he'd appreciate it as well, unless it's a burden for him to do that.
Honestly, I like it as well for him, because he was clearly in control of it and could manage it, but I really hope that for someone who just didn't have the energy or the talent for managing it,
of course,
that he could just have something handed out instead.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's nice as a choice. Right, so what games are you playing right now?
Big one. I just finished Dark Souls.
The Dark Souls.
And checking my Steam, I found that it had taken me 170 hours to complete Dark Souls 1 for the first time.
But that is not a single playthrough, I hope.
No, that is
very, very extraordinary.
That is play to... I mean, on at least 3 characters, I played up to the point where I was in a single sitting and I was about to start Blighttown, and I was like, I'm too tired for this shit right now. I'll do that next time. I'll stop for today. And then next time I sit down and go Dark Souls, I look at that character. I'm like, oh, I have to go through Blight. Fuck it. I'll make a new character. So I have several. And I had a character who was post-Lord Vessel, halfway through Archives, probably more than halfway now that I've been through. And then I lost my save, transitioning from Games for Windows Live to Steam.
Oh, shit, I see. Yeah.
Not that there was anything wrong with that transition. A lot of people didn't lose shit. I just fucked it up somehow.
Yeah, well, things happen.
Yeah.
It's much better now anyway with multiplayer. So how are you finding the game, or how did you find the game now that you've beaten it? Did it live up to the hype? I guess it did. You put fucking 170 hours into it.
I'm not done with it. No way.
Ah, nice.
I kind of want to do Dark Souls 2 and complete Dark Souls 2, and then come back to Dark Souls 1 and do stuff like interesting gimmick runs or just New Game Plus and stuff.
I would recommend doing that stuff first, because at least personally, I find it really hard to go back to Dark Souls 1 after playing Dark Souls 2. I know a lot of people think that Dark Souls 2 is a lot worse of a game, and I agree. Like the environments and levels and enemy design and all this kind of stuff is not as good, but the gameplay improvements make it very difficult to go back to Dark Souls 1. It feels really clunky. Same for me, going from Dark Souls 1 to Demon's Souls. It felt really like stiff and kind of uncomfortable.
What else am I playing? I'm trying to get through a campaign of XCOM 2. I know we have that in common.
Yep. I've been streaming mine. It's going to hell now. Fucking sectopods showed up, and I was not prepared for it.
I heard they are ridiculously gigantic in 2.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Very, very scary.
I might stream some at some point in the future. I don't know, but I'm just doing it off stream for now. I want to get back to Revengeance. People have been bugging me for half a year. When are you going to finish Revengeance? And the time is now, as John Cena would say.
The time is now.
I was gifted by a very kind young fellow calling himself Dustbin. I was gifted Undertale, and I streamed that for a little bit, and I absolutely fucking hated it.
Yes, I saw that.
And I know that I was coming into the game a little bit pre-soured.
A little bit, that's an understatement.
And I know that I might not yet have given the game a completely fair shake, even though it just really doesn't appeal that much to me.
Yeah.
So I am going to stream that more, just, to make an effort at getting into it and getting myself to like it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really any argument that at least partially you want to dislike Undertale. I definitely feel that way. I want to dislike Undertale because it's so popular, and I mean, even though I can recognize myself doing it, that sort of hipster thing, like, I don't like it because it's popular kind of thing. I'm too cool for that shit, activates in me.
If someone recommends something, I'll go, and be interested. But once the hype starts, the more hype something gets, the less I want to do with it.
Yeah.
I think
it's unfortunate.
I kind of like the Harry Potter movies, but I think I saw the first one, 8 years after it came out or something, simply because of the insufferable, inescapable hype train.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate Undertale going in, but I also didn't expect to like it.
That's fair enough. I've still not played it, and I have no plans to play it. I've seen it enough streamed to sort of get a grip for the game, and meh. It's fine. It's kind of unique in some ways, but it also is kind of, I don't know, why would I want to play this kind of Earthbound RPG when I didn't like Earthbound that much to begin with?
People keep drawing that parallel, and I have never seen or played or anything Earthbound. My full extent of knowledge about Earthbound is it exists, and apparently Undertale is quite like it.
Yes,
that's what I know.
It's a 16-bit sort of top-down RPG. It's kind of quirky and has some...
And its actual title is Mother.
Yes. It has some sort of fresh twists, I suppose, in terms of combat and stuff. It is quite similar, especially in the way it uses humor. Both are kind of like meta in the way that they sort of deconstruct games from within a game in that kind of sense. Like in Undertale, they keep joking about these like really silly gameplay elements and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so far, what I've seen of that in Undertale, there was one bit I really liked, but every other time when I've noticed that, it doesn't feel like, to me, it doesn't feel like the game is being clever. It feels like the game is poking me, going, hey, look at how clever I am. Look, I'm so clever. This is insight. Hey, do you get it? Hey, look at me, I'm being clever, and go away.
Yeah.
But the one part,
get that.
the first time I came to a shop and I looked at my inventory and I was like, this weapon is obsolete. I have a better weapon now. I'm gonna sell it. And he's like, why are you trying to sell me this? I'm a food store. Why would I buy it? That was funny. That legit.
It definitely has a lot of great moments in it, and I think it is almost unfair to criticize it for being like too mimetic. Because it's not really the game's fault that it's taken on a life of its own. But, oh god, if I see that fucking papyrus shit being posted on Twitter one more time, I swear to god, man.
I was in the papyrus fight, and I was whining and bitching because I really don't like that character. That character, to me, is the epitome of everything wrong with that game so far. And someone reminded me, you do know that you can actually kill him because you're in a fight with him. So I killed him. Yep. And I'm actually a little bit interested to see what the game is going to be like now without him, because he seemed like he was a really major deal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is... the whole choice between genocide and pacifist is really cool in Undertale.
I'm not doing either.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to.
I'm just killing the things that I feel need killing, and otherwise not killing. So I'm pretty much doing it wrong. There are two ways to do it, and I'm not doing either of them.
Were you playing Dragon's Dogma?
Oh, yeah. I just gave up on that game. That's right.
Oh. No likey?
Much lovey. I played through the main story, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was not without faults, but it was amazing. And there's an area that came with the expansion called Bitter Black Isle. Mm-hmm. I went there at level 5, and the enemies were so tough, and a pop-up came and said, Bitter Black Isle is meant for seasoned adventurers. If you're having a hard time here, you might want to go to the main area of the game and get a few more levels. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So I went, and I completed the entire main game. I played through the entire main game. I was level 50-something. I went to Bitter Black Isle, and I still got unbelievably wrecked, and I still got that pop-up. And someone who was watching it actually told me most people do Bitter Black Isle somewhere between level 80 and 90. Someone else told me Bitter Black Isle isn't meant to be done until level 200. So...
Yeah, alright.
I mean, honestly...
So you're saying there's a shitload of grind to unlock the rest of the content, basically?
Apparently. I mean, if playing through the entire game, if playing through all the other content that the game offers isn't enough to be ready for this content, right. I'm not saying that's bad design, but I am saying that is definitely...
Why not? It is bad design. You can say it. You can say that it's bad design.
It's not bad design if you're an artist that loves grinding. My point is, I'm not saying it's bad design, but it is definitely not design intended for me.
Yeah. I mean, is there any kind of like New Game Plus you can do where you can get more levels and stuff?
Yeah, you can just do the exact same main story over again.
Ah, I see.
Oh, and difficulty, apparently difficulty doesn't increase, so it's the exact same main story, except you start at level 50.
Right. It's like playing through Diablo 2 and then playing it again on the same difficulty or something, I guess.
It's like playing through Diablo 2. What are you when you finish Diablo 2? You're about level 30.
Yeah, something like that.
So imagine if to start on Nightmare and have a chance, you needed to be
level 80 or 70.
Let's say level 70.
Yeah.
So you basically had to go through normal 2 or 3 times to start Nightmare.
Yeah.
That's how I feel it was.
I bought Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
And I booted it up. I was thinking like, all right, I haven't played something single player off stream for a while. I guess I'll give this a go. Played through the intro. It's kind of cool, I guess. We're like this group. We're going to kill a dragon, and then something happened. I can't remember. Character creation. All right, cool. And then you're suddenly like a fisherman on a beach.
Yeah.
And the fucking cutscene is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. when you like get killed by the dragon at the start. It's so bad. I don't.
What bad?
Why
Like,
is it so bad?
badly made, or just doesn't make sense?
Everything about it is wrong. Like the dragon like singles you out and like lifts you up like
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but it feels really silly.
Yeah, but
anyway,
but if
my point is that I haven't played it since then.
No,
I played like
fair enough.
an hour of it. I should have just refunded it. I don't know why I even bought it. I knew I wouldn't really play it.
I felt like gameplay wise, it was like a super casualized Dark Souls. Like it was only just it just managed to remind me of Dark Souls, but basically being a casual button mash game.
Yeah.
Until Bitter Black
I don't
Isle.
know, it was...
Fuck Bitter Black Isle.
It felt more like, I don't know, maybe the boss fights were slightly Dark Soul-y, but like the regular enemies, you just fucking spammed light attack or whatever. They didn't do anything and they just kept falling down. Yeah. I don't know. It might just have been that I was so early in the game that it was super easy, but from watching streams and stuff, the sort of basic combat doesn't seem to be especially complicated. It's kind of like, I don't know, if we do like the Diablo comparison again, just like left-clicking creeps to kill them. But I'd much rather play an sort of action RPG in that case.
Yeah. It's kind of midways between the basic action RPG and Dark Souls, I'd say.
Yeah.
But one thing it has in common with Dark Souls that I will defend at any time is that the environments are really atmospheric and nice.
I suppose so. The game is quite ugly though, but I suppose that's expected from such an old game.
Yeah,
even though they gave it a coat of paint, it still looks quite bad. I guess that doesn't really matter that much if the aesthetics are there. It kind of...
I mean, when talking graphics, the design of things for me will always matter a million times more than the quality, the number of pixels or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, it kind of depends. If somebody's trying to go for photorealistic and it just ends up looking really bad because of like the fidelity of the hardware and stuff, then it kind of matters. But yeah, you're definitely right. Like,
remember, Final Fantasy VII was good graphics once.
It is still good graphics. Those pre-rendered backgrounds are genius.
No, the actual...
the super low polygon, the sort of chibi looking dudes. Yeah, it's really ugly.
Yeah, but that was considered good once.
Yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy VII was always super impressive because of the backgrounds, which were so cool looking. But yeah, you're right.
What games are you playing right now?
I am spending a lot of time playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
No. I said, what games are you playing?
But what is CS then?
I don't know, an addiction?
Probably. I mean, judging by how angry I get at that game, but still come back to it, it's some sort of abusive relationship.
You're the one who said that
wife syndrome.
That basically you don't play video games and play CS:GO as part of your video gaming hobby.
Yeah,
you have CS:GO as a separate hobby next to video games.
That's exactly true. Yeah, you need to spend so much time on it.
Which, to be fair, isn't that doesn't that? Am I wrong here, or does that basically make it first-person Dota?
Yes, pretty much. At least in terms of time investment and stuff like that. How serious people take it. There are
going to be people in YouTube comments now getting chimpy that I don't understand Dota because I compared CS:GO to it. You know it.
Yeah, let them. Who cares? They're idiots. The Overwatch
Dopecast. We really appreciate our viewers.
Yes, they're all a bunch of retards, except for you.
Yeah, you.
John.
You are a really cool guy.
Yes. So, as I was saying, the fucking Blizzard game, Overwatch, it is very good. The beta just opened back up, and I've been enjoying the hell out of it, streaming it. It's like Team Fortress 2, except better, or kind of like Team Fortress 2 when it was good. It's like this squad-based sort of arena shooter where you have different classes that have different roles, like some build turrets, some shoot rocket launchers, others are snipers, that kind of stuff. And then you do like objectives like capturing points and this kind of stuff.
I've seen some streams of it, and I don't see any way that is not going to be a fierce flavor of the month when it launches.
Yeah, I think that's Game of the Year material, honestly. Like, the game is so polished and so much fun in the beta. They could easily have released it a long time ago.
You think it's going to be a serious competitive thing as well?
That's difficult to say.
Because you know they want it to be.
Yeah, they definitely want it to be. And I think it will be big enough that it becomes a serious competitive thing. Sort of like how like World of Warcraft arena matches became esports for a while. I guess they still are to some extent. Just because there were like 10 million players or some shit like that. So that small subsection that gets really serious about it. I don't think it will be like massive. I don't think it will sort of get the sort of exposure that like League of Legends has.
What
but
about
Blizzard will definitely push it.
I was actually thinking more. You think it'll get to like Hearthstone level?
Yeah, I was about to say because Hearthstone is a very uncompetitive game. It is based a lot on just dice rolling and stuff like that. Of course, there's skill to it, but it isn't that good of a spectator sport, really. But it still has become really big in esports.
You know,
and that is because they have like 40 million players or something on that game. So
yeah.
I definitely think Blizzard will push to make it an esport, but I don't know. I mean, it really depends on how they balance it, because there's some stuff you can do already where you can sort of combine certain characters together to become literally unstoppable.
I think we can call it now that it's definitely going to be a 2017 DreamHack, for example.
Yeah, I bet it will. But yeah, it's really good fun. And of course, I've been playing XCOM 2. I fucking hate that game, but I fucking love that game. It's awful. It has so many bad aspects.
It's because
to it.
you hate the game, and then it beats you until you love it.
Pretty much. But oh god, the fucking system of the pods is so irritating. The way the enemies spawn in on the map.
You've been griping about that.
I know!
You've been griping about that since actually before the first XCOM came out.
Yes, because it's fucking bullshit. When the map generates, there's these zones where enemies are, and when you get close enough to them, they just get a free turn and then set up and flank you. And like, oh, okay, let me just not move forward then. I'll play it slowly and methodically. Nope! XCOM 2 introduces fucking timed missions. You have to keep moving forward, but then you activate the pods and then you get overwhelmed. And
to be fair, there were timed missions in XCOM 1 as well. It just wasn't 2 out of every 3 missions.
Yeah, they weren't as common, and I don't think the timers were as tight either.
I got my ass clenched so badly last time I played, cause a UFO landed and there was no timer, and I think I spent 9 turns in concealment, just setting up, sneaking closer, waiting for a patrol to pass, moving in, then I attack, wipe them out, and then suddenly, oh, you have 7 turns to stop this signal. What? Where? What? Yep. Fuck! No!
That happened. The exact same thing happened.
I made it by the skin of my dick. I literally did a suicide run in with a man on the last turn and just desperately pounded the button.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But then,
it's good fun, though. It is good fun.
It was amazing. It's a memorable moment.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. I really like the fact that they've made the custom soldiers a lot easier. We have our own little character pool going in Dopelives. It's got like 67 characters. The
whole thing where you can upload them and create them in pools, and basically like we have it, just one big file you download. Bam, you have everybody.
Yep. It's really nice, and you grow attached to your little dudes, especially once you unlock sort of more specialization where they can. Instead of just going through the tech tree, you get these like randomly assigned bonuses.
I haven't gotten
Then when
that
you lose
yet.
like your corporal with like cover fire or whatever the fuck, it feels really, really bad.
But it feels so good.
Yeah, it feels good. Okay, let's move on. Do you still have other hobbies? Or don't you still have other hobbies?
I don't play the bass as much as I used to, but I still do. Miniature games. Kinky sex. I go for walks every now and again, and I like.
Don't list walks as a hobby.
I guess it's not. Fair enough.
No, it really isn't.
I mean,
okay,
I like
you go
poetry,
for walks.
long walks on the beach. And...
Exactly.
Wait, isn't this this isn't a dating show?
No,
fuck,
it is not.
Fuck.
I mean, do you want it to be? So has anything changed since last time we recorded one of these? Have you found a new game or a new girlfriend or hobby, something thing, video games?
Well, there was the second girl that I was seeing that I stopped seeing that I'm now seeing again. I'm just not seeing her together with my main girlfriend anymore. I'm seeing her separately.
Okay. Was there jealousy or something going on there, or what?
No.
I don't know. If you want to discuss this, it's up to you, of course.
It wasn't jealousy. I mean, I'm still seeing everyone with everybody else's knowledge and consent. It was just a matter that they just didn't have good chemistry. They just didn't really get along very well.
Yeah,
I mean,
makes
they
sense.
didn't get into fights or get bitchy or anything. They just didn't enjoy each other's company as much as they would like to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Still pimping the hell out of Infinity. Wonderful game. Considering getting into another game called Malifaux, which I've been into before.
Is it a miniatures game?
Miniatures game, kind of a Victorian / Western /
Victorian / Western
/ horror
so steampunky?
settings. Steampunky. Like there are certain characters and certain units that are very steampunky, but those are the steampunky guys. It's not like the entire game is drowning in steampunk. Like, you can also be a beautiful, entrancing woman who is actually Lilith, the mother of monsters, and has demon babies with knives for hands that dig blood out of people and feed it to their mother so she can spawn other creatures.
So what you're saying is you can be a woman?
Yeah. My soggy knee.
Fair enough. It sounds almost like, what was that game called? Not Age of Wonders, Age of Legends or something. There were like 3 factions in that. One of them were like monsters. One of them was like steampunky, like, Archimedes' helicopter. Like, it was kind of built around that aesthetic. And then one of them was like Beastmen or something like that. I can't actually remember, but...
Not familiar to me, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Myself, I've not really changed in what I do. I enjoy a good game of Dungeons and Dragons a couple of times a week.
Oh shit! I run a Dungeons and Dragons game, of course. I've been a dungeon master for the past 18 years. That might be worth mentioning as a hobby. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Brian?
Yeah, what are you doing, Brian? Why are you not reminding me of these things? But yeah, other than that, like cooking and, well, that's pretty much it, I guess. I don't really do much else.
Are you going to cook for me at Dopecon?
Yeah, I might. I did in 2014. I did like lasagna for everybody.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah. What's Dopecon?
Yeah, what is Dopecon? Dopecon, well, Dopecon started at my place.
Yes.
As I keep saying. A bunch of nerds came over, we went to Legoland. And then, was it the same year or the next year where you did an actual, like, a bigger thing in Sweden?
It was the same year, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that's been a yearly thing. This year is going to be, what, Dopecon 3?
Yeah, it has to be the 3rd one, right? There's a slight possibility that it's the 4th one and I'm just retarded, but...
I feel the exact same way right now.
I think it's the 3rd one. But yeah, I mean, we call it DopeCon, but it's not actually a convention. It's just like we gather people from the community and we have like a meetup where we play games, have some like fighting game tournaments, play Mario Kart, play some board games.
Munchkin.
Yeah, exactly. Generally have some alcohol and just have a good time. It's in the southern part of Sweden.
And I have been coming up with excuses not to go every time. But this year you better. This year,
you better be there.
My girlfriend and I are gonna get in her car and we're gonna drive there, and I'm gonna bring her.
Yes.
And we're just going. And there's gonna be a girl there, and everybody's just gonna turn to spaghetti.
Nah, we've already had the girl there.
Oh, good.
Oh, I guess not really. I don't know. Who can tell?
Well, wasn't Kier there last year?
Yeah.
I mean.
So was Meat Cleaver. I mean, he's been there every year. It doesn't get any more spaghetti than that, so I think we'll be okay.
I really like Meat Cleaver.
Can we just end this podcast here? This is so absolutely shocking. I can't believe you just said
He's
that.
Adorable.
I thought I knew you.
He's adorable.
I thought I knew you. Nah, Meat Cleaver's alright. But he's a total faggot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. But...
Yeah. Right. So let's do the last question before we move on to our actual topics of discussion.
Yeah. Okay, I'll start. What is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card?
The trap card. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh. I know about trap cards, and I know there's some sort of 5-part thing that people reference all the time that goes together like some big mecha thing.
Exodia!
Yeah, that's the one. That's all I know about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. Trap, it's not really the trap card, they're basically
No,
like
I know.
the hidden
I guess
things
it's like a type of thing you play hidden or something.
I think they're exactly like the hidden things you play in Hearthstone.
Yeah, like secrets.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the female dark magician, because if I remember correctly from the anime, which I've watched the abridged version of, that takes the piss, she has tits.
Is she exclusively the one character in Yu-Gi-Oh that has tits?
She's exclusively the one character in Yu-Gi-Oh, if I'm remembering right, where you look at her design and you're like, this was a kid's show?
Oh,
really?
I see. That kind of character. Well, fair enough. Have you actually played? I can talk. Have you actually played Yu-Gi-Oh?
I've played a few games of Pokemon, the card game. That's the closest I've come.
Yeah, I played that as a kid. It was
not really a good card game.
It was kind of alright. But when you could play Magic the Gathering, I don't know why you would ever play Pokemon, which was just like a watered down version of it. You even had like the same kind of energy system where you'd like.
And it wasn't even good watered down. I mean, Hearthstone is a watered down Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
but it's kind of so watered down that it's kind of gone and become its own thing.
Yeah.
Where Pokemon never managed to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Right, let's move on to our topics for discussion.
Yeah, like
we've already touched on a few of these. So how about we go into a bit of a dour subject?
Oh yeah,
a bit of sadness. That's now our official jingle whenever we talk about something sad.
Yes.
Yes, we have had a loss in the community, and nobody's died or anything. It's not been that dire. But one of our longest reigning streamers has left us to seek greener pastures, basically. Sweet Pea, I'm sure most of you know who it is. And he's been with us since like 2012 or something like that, I think.
I'm pretty sure he was a streamer before I ever heard of Dopelives.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. He's definitely among the
old guard
people who has been here the longest, for sure. But yeah, he started to get really into Doom and played like a lot of custom maps of that and stuff.
Let's just defend him here, as in the old classical Doom, not Doom 3.
Yes, of course, the regular Doom.
I believe I believe actually in the Doom community they call Doom 3 Doom in name only.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, did you see the new Doom, by the way? It looks awful.
No.
Anyway, yeah, he was streaming a lot of that on his own channel and started to grow a bit of a following there. Sort of the Doom community, which is surprisingly large still, started watching him, and eventually he decided that he basically didn't have enough free time to split between streaming on Dopelives and streaming on his own, and since he was more interested in just keeping up his doomish ways, he has resigned as a streamer. He still hangs around, of course, but he no longer streams for us. Instead, he just does his own stuff on his own channel. Thoughts, comments? Did you die?
If I can be a little frank here and
yes.
and not pull my punches, I'm actually glad that he left for his own community. And that's
you have to explain yourself.
Yeah,
man.
That's not because I don't like him. I honestly
wow, I'm so glad that asshole left.
I honestly think that
fucking Sweet Pea.
I honestly think Sweet Pea is absolutely one of the nicest people in all of Dopelives. But I don't know. It sometimes, varying in frequency, half the chat would treat him like absolute shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I felt it was out of line sometimes.
Occasionally, that has definitely been a thing.
I mean,
where people are just really rude against him.
Yeah, he whines and we give him shit for that. That's fine. But some people just
take it over the top and they don't really understand.
So it was never said, it was never expressed from his case, but I honestly believe that part of why he chose his own community is he suddenly experienced that it doesn't have to be like that. He doesn't have to take that shit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even though Sweet Pea has been with us for so long, he has never entirely fit in. And that's not like a diss or anything. He's just not, like, I don't know. A lot of this community originally came from the sort of 4chan culture, where people are just cruel dicks just for the sake of it. And Sweet Pea was never like that. He was never part of that, like, shit-posting style people, you know. Like, I don't think Sweet Pea has ever shit-posted in his life. And I'm not saying that that's what this community is, but that sort of undercurrent is definitely present in a lot of people. Although you're also kind of an exception to that, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm the Hugbox guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that I have talked sternly to people, and I believe even banned a few people who were, it seems really silly to say it, but like picking on Sweet Pea, I guess.
Honestly, I don't think that's silly to say. I've often felt like bullying is the right word to put on it. I know bullying is a buzzword these days, and saying it is a joke, but I mean, I've watched Sweet Pea streams where I actually left chat because I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it hasn't been too frequently that way. But I can definitely empathize with that, though. I mean, some time ago there were this sort of segment of the community that kind of had the same reaction towards me, and always like complained about me and this kind of stuff. And well, since I'm an egomaniacal bastard and I run this place, I banned them because I didn't want them around, you know. This was actually a long time ago, like 3 years or something, but
I think I know the people, the group that this is about.
Yeah. Some of them came back recently, and I still didn't want them here. Neither did some of the other moderators, so we just banned them again because, I mean, we didn't like them around. So I can totally understand that being a thing.
I mean, you have to remember, if you go into a community like Dopelives, you're basically going into our house.
Mm-hmm.
Your freedom of speech doesn't actually apply. It's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship run by the people who've taken the time to build it and take the time to run it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we are elitist to some extent, or to a rather large extent, and that's by choice. We moderate the chat in such a way that we get rid of the annoying retards, basically, for the most part. I mean, Dralkan is still around, for example. Don't know what that's about, but yeah, I mean, it's still sort of a strange balance, I guess, where you have to be sort of forgiving and allowing to some extent while still being not too forgiving. It's sometimes very difficult to find that balance, and especially when people get really tight-knit like that aforementioned group. Maybe it was like one or two of them that were the major shit stirrers, but it was impossible to sort of like to get rid of one of them without the others, you know, becoming the new shit stirrers.
If I remember correct, without the others starting a massive campaign with banners and shit stirring and slogans, even.
Pretty much. But if Sweet Pea ever listens to this, I hope you haven't taken offense to anything we're saying. These things that we've been mentioning about the reaction in chat and stuff, those were not in your post. Those are our assumptions. Well, if they're not true, then that's not true. Then
if they're not true, then I challenge you to come here on the Dopecast with us and speak your side of things.
Yeah,
fuck it, I challenge you to do that anyway. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah, it would be interesting to have an exit interview with him. Anyway, wish you the best of luck with your own excursions, and thank you kindly for the years of service, the years of entertainment you've provided. As his last stream, he finally went back and finished Hogs of War, which is so admirable.
Which is a game, probably the game he hates the most, and chat has been basically picking on him like in a good-natured way.
Yeah, busting his balls over it in a.
When are you gonna finish Hogs of War?
jovial
When is
manner.
is this Hogs of War? Are you gonna streak Hogs of War now?
Yeah. Whenever Sweetfield's like, I have a new streaming project I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a surprise. Oh, is it gonna be Hogs of War? Like, people have always.
And then he
been-
just goes and does it. The absolute madman.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
I
great.
respect
It was a really fitting exit, fitting goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, he basically faced his demon.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanna intro the next topic.
Yes.
Because the next topic is, so what's the deal with video games?
What is the deal? Wow, I really can't talk today. Sorry, let me have a drink.
How do I words?
How do I words? What is the deal with video games? There's a lot of things about video games. Are we talking about their entertainment value? What is it we are talking about here?
What's happening in the world of video games? What's video game current events?
Video game current events.
I mean, XCOM 2 just came out. That's pretty big.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, is there anything big happening currently?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's like 2 days till Street Fighter 5 drops.
Yeah, but
huge.
that's another game coming out. I thought we were talking about sort of trends and current things going on here.
Cool, let's talk about that.
Yeah, but I don't know if there is anything like that. I mean, there is this pernicious trend of censorship that's been starting to crop up.
Oh?
Yeah.
Enlighten me.
Sorry?
Enlighten me.
All right. There's, the social justice warriors, as they are called. Feminists, whatever you want to call them, have sort of gained a foothold within the games media and are basically, I'm not sure if forcing their point of view is the right word to say, but at least it has become a lot more widespread that there is this degree of, like, if your game isn't inclusive, it's very bad. If you're producing a game where the protagonist is a white man who's straight, then you're doing something wrong. And if you're producing a game with, like, sexy half-naked women, then that game doesn't deserve to be sold.
Because remember, female sexuality is empowering and should be accepted, except when it makes feminists feel bad about their own bodies.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, the recent case is the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, whatever the fuck that spin-off thing is called. Some company was gonna release it, but then, like, pressure from the retailers and stuff, and they decided not to actually release it in the West.
How do you, just release it as the piece of brain-dead cheesecake it is. This is Dead or Alive. It has always been tits and ass. It will always be tits and ass. It's Girls Gone Wild, Spring Vacation, Girls on Trampolines, the video game. Get over it.
Yeah, yes. I mean, that case is a little bit suspicious, or whatever you want to call it, because it is entirely possible that they fabricated that entire controversy in order to sort of drum up sales for their game, which hasn't ever really been all that popular. But I think it's still emblematic that it is possible that, if it was not a possibility that such a game would be censored, then pretending to have their game censored would be ludicrous. So the possibility, even if they manufacture the controversy,
just the climate that makes the story plausible.
The climate for it still exists to make it plausible. And of course there are other examples of these things happening, like when Nintendo is now porting games from Japan. They remove a bunch of costumes and stuff like that.
Oh, I heard that about some game in chat. Some game where...
Yeah, like Fatal Frame, they removed some of the quote-unquote sexy costumes and various other things like that.
Honestly, I don't like excessively sexy costumes in games where it doesn't have a point. But that doesn't mean I feel it should be censored. That just means I point and laugh. Maybe I shrug.
Yeah.
It's funny because, these are the same people who are very pro-gay rights, very pro-trans, flans, blans, lans, dance.
Yes.
And this basically sounds like the same argument as with gay marriage. I'm on a diet, so you can't have a cookie.
Yeah. That's a very good way.
If you don't want to if you don't like gay marriage, don't have one. If you don't like tits and ass, I guess don't buy fucking a game that's been famous for tits and ass since 1992 or whenever it came out first.
Yeah. 92 is probably a bit early, but yeah, point well taken. I mean, there's this argument you can make that they have a cultural impact that is negative for society at large, but then you could equally make the point that gay marriage has a cultural impact that is negative for society at large. The cultural impact of like legalizing gay marriage or having a strip club or whatever shouldn't really outweigh the the level of freedom, the freedom of expression. Yeah, exactly. Because who judges what is a positive or negative impact? That's just your own morals.
I saw a really fun thing on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the exact wording, but it was yada yada yada, something about showing people how bad they were if they teach their kids that being hetero and being cis are normal. Now, these are people who clearly do not comprehend what the word normal means.
Yep.
Because of course it's normal to be straight. There are fewer non-straight than there are straight. Therefore it is the norm. Therefore it is normal. There's no implicit value judgment. Normal is not better than abnormal. It's just fucking normal.
Yep. I
Sorry.
have a... Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think there's this thing where people think that assuming that somebody is cis is wrong. So if you see a guy, if you see an individual dressed in a suit, he's got short hair, no breasts, doesn't have a purse, he doesn't display any femininity, you should still ask this person
what are your favorite
if he identifies as a man or a woman or something else, I suppose. To assume
asking if the person identifies as a man or a woman would probably be a grave insult.
Yeah, as I said, or something else. Or whatever you identify as, you gender fluid, tetra-queer, octopus man. But yeah, it's weird. I can kind of understand it for like not assuming that a person is straight. In a way, like...
It's
especially if it's like your parents, I guess. Or
honestly, if we get there, I feel it's kind of harmless ignorance, because again, if you don't know someone's sexuality and you are just betting on straight, you're betting the odds.
Yeah,
so if you go up to someone and basically go, "You're straight, right?" "No, I'm gay." "Okay, whatever."
Yeah.
No harm, no foul. Move the fuck on.
There are though cases where there is harm in this, I'd say.
Anything done maliciously is malicious.
Yeah, but not even. Let me fucking finish my point, you dickhead. So, like, your parents, they're like, "Hey, Anderson, when are you gonna get a girlfriend?" But you're gay, and you haven't told them. And they sort of reinforce this thing about how being gay is weird. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you grow up around that, like... "Oh, look at him! He's so in love with that girl." Like, sort of.
Can I pick at your phrasing?
Yes.
You said being gay is weird. Well, what is weird except not normal? So being gay is weird, but there's nothing fucking wrong with being weird.
Being gay is wrong or abnormal. I mean, it is literally abnormal, but you know what I mean.
Okay. I'm gonna be in good faith here.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I think those situations, it can be a problem in some ways, but... I
agree. But I have a really hard time kind of putting myself in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Because my parents were always very explicit at making sure I knew they didn't give a shit.
Yeah, mine as well. Which I find commendable.
But at some point, at several points they've said to me, like, when you bring someone home, what he or she does is none of our business. Yeah. I mean, they've used that phrasing deliberately several times.
Yeah. Same. I mean, it's never been like, "Hey, son, we wouldn't have a problem if you were homosexual," but that, like, he or she phrasing, it's more subtle than that, but it's still very explicit, and we're like, it doesn't matter to us, it's totally okay. which, yeah, I think that's very commendable. Not making a big deal out of it, and still sort of being, still explaining that they would totally be fine with it, you know? What were we talking about?
I actually think this came from video games.
Yes, of course, feminism, and then yes, of course, man, everything's so interconnected.
So what else?
So
Anything else going on in video games?
Yes, the most important awards show of the year took place. Okay, enough. 2 trumpets can be enough.
That's what she said.
The Dopelives Video Game Awards, the DVGAs. What was that, a broken record?
That was an applause. That was a crowd.
Oh my god, alright. It's like an applause from like an NES game. It's just just white noise. But yeah, it's been a yearly tradition now for 3 years. And I always find it really fun. We just like put up a poll of the best game of the year, the game with the best soundtrack, and the best gameplay, and like the worst trend in gaming, the worst company, and then we just have a big fucking stream where people get together. Like I hop on TeamSpeak, and members from the community join me, and we just talk about these things. It's really like 7 hour. The previous year was. This year was more like 4 or 5 hours, I guess. But like a 4 or 5 hour podcast where we talk about games. So if you're a fan of these things,
you're saying
this audio.
Oh, sorry. You're saying it's like a 4 or 5 hour podcast. Does it actually go on YouTube?
Yes, it is on YouTube.
Are we going to link to it in the description?
Yes, I will. Both in the podcast description and on the YouTube description of this, if you want to take a peek. As I was saying, though, if you're a fan of these little bits of audio entertainment, then you should definitely check out the VGAs. I mean, if you're into video games, but I assume you are, since you're listening to this.
What do you mean? People from the community are going to be listening to this as well, and they all hate video games.
That's true. And you're here and you hate video games.
I love video games, as long as they're fun.
That's the problem, though. They're not.
I kind of get a little brought down, actually, by the lead up to the DVGAs every year.
Oh? Brought down?
Yeah.
Like, depressed?
Not... that's putting too heavy a word on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not, more like,
Is it like, look at all these games I didn't play this year?
It's like, okay, vote on the best game of the year. And I'm like, I literally didn't play any games that came out this year. Okay, best soundtrack. I haven't heard of half of these. I'm supposed to be a nerd. I'm a video game streamer. What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, that's true now.
It just brings home, because I'm not the guy who buys games when they release. I buy games when they're on summer sale for $5. And it really hammers it home just how, I guess, behind the curve I continually am.
Yeah, it makes sense when you put it like that. There's plenty of games, especially in like the indie game kind of sphere, that I've not heard of that get nominated in this DVGA thing. The community sort of nominates the things, then we vote on them.
I'm more like, oh, a new Call of Duty came out? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's difficult to keep up, man. There's so many games. It's impossible to play them all, really.
I was actually the shitter who I think the first year for Dope Video Game Awards, I just nominated retro games. Like, best game of the year, Super Mario Brothers 2.
StarCraft.
Soundtrack of the year, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. I don't think we included those.
No, why would you? I mean, ultimately...
Is there any games you're looking forward to going forward?
Yes.
Other than Street Fighter, I guess?
I won't get Street Fighter.
Oh, that's huge. We gotta talk about
Someone
this.
was kind enough to give me a beta invite for Street Fighter 5, and I installed it, and I played it, and it moves at a fluid, smooth 3 frames per second.
Oh, is your computer too shite to handle it, you mean?
My hardware does not have the muscle to move Street Fighter 5.
That's a very disappointing answer. I thought you were gonna be like, and it moves at a really sluggish pace. This is like the worst development in this genre.
It looks like an amazing game. I want it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Now I'm really disappointed. I was so hyped to hear your gripes with it, because all I've heard is like, it's really good. It's better than 4. So I was looking forward to hearing the opposite point of view. Why do you have to ruin my dreams?
No, I'm a bit of a fanboy. I just don't have the hardware.
Fair enough. So you gotta get a new computer now.
I mean, I bought my computer right around the time I started visiting Dopelives, and it hasn't had an upgrade since. It's due.
Yes. But that costs money.
That costs
and
money.
Money is very, very difficult to get when you do not have a job.
Yes, and nobody wants to buy my body. I've tried.
Have you tried selling like a kidney?
No, I've tried. Oh, well, renting it out more like.
Yeah. But you buy a service, not a number.
It was easier when I was 19 and slim.
Was it?
Oh, yes. Anyway. Dope Video Game Awards. Like, good fun.
Like men even, or women?
Mainly men. Even if you don't give a shit about the Dope Lives community, consider tuning in that one time of year for the Dope Video Game Awards.
Yes. It's really good fun. It is really good fun.
Next topic, that's basically gonna be you talking and me asking questions.
Okay.
So...
What? Oh, right, yes. Let us talk about the fucking flat earth.
So, quite some time ago, actually, you got a degree of fame when one of your videos went viral. And it was basically you...
I had a blip of fame again.
It was basically you pointing at stupid people and laughing.
No, not stupid people. One stupid person.
Oh, it was only a single person? I thought it was like a cut together from various different ones. My bad.
No, I watched a video from Tiger Dan.
So, that was the Tiger Dan guy.
9
okay.
Or whatever. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So then what happened? That was a while ago. Why is this current now? Talk.
Because, well, let me explain the story first of all. So I watched, like, after watching a movie or something, I think I just put on some Q, which is just when we play YouTube clips for the audience and sometimes commentate over them, and I was doing that at the time. And we started watching these Flat Earth videos, and they were really funny because they were really stupid. So I laughed, and people laughed at me laughing. And, well, it ended up on YouTube. And then some person, who I am completely unaffiliated with, posted it on Reddit, on, like, our videos, which is one of the bigger subreddits. And somehow, miraculously, it ended up on the front page of Reddit, where it got, I don't know, at least like 200,000 views, probably more by now. So it got quite big.
It was something like it got like all its hits in the first 24 hours.
Yes,
it got like 250,000 views in 24 hours.
Yeah, it has 500,000 views now, a bit over that.
Yo.
Yeah, it got really big really fast. And yeah, I had been a fan of Tiger Dan for a while.
Who is Tiger Dan?
Tiger Dan is some British guy who's obsessed with Bible prophecy. He like
Book of Revelation shit?
Yeah, and also other things. Like, I don't know a good example off the top of my head, but he makes videos about how, like, the Bible predicts advances in science that the people at the time couldn't possibly know, that kind of bullshit. And he had started making videos about the Earth being flat quite a long time ago, and like made like a video called 50 Biblical Proofs that the Earth is flat and this kind of thing. I've always been interested in conspiracy theories, and this is sort of a subset of that, where they claim that like NASA is part of this conspiracy. It's actually Satan. If you look at their logo, there's a hidden T in the NASA logo. That kind of stuff.
But I don't get it, because the Earth is flat. We all know that.
Yeah.
The Earth is a flat plane in a curved space.
Shut up. No, you know, the best theory is that the Earth is concave, and we're actually standing on the inside of a sphere, with the stars and the universe being sort of the core.
How big is that sphere?
It doesn't necessarily have to be that big. There are, like, if you blind yourself to reality and look at some of the presentations they've done on the concave Earth reality, as it is called, it's actually pretty convincing. There are.
I wonder
a lot
if we called it
phenomena
the
that are
reality of
explained-
evolution instead of the theory of evolution. Would that shut creationists up?
But if humans evolved from monkeys, why are they still monkeys? Checkmate, atheists. What were we talking about?
Tiger Dan.
The Tiger Dan. Yes, the reason why he's
The
is
Dopefish
currently
is talking about the Tiger Dan.
yeah, the reason he's still top of mind, I suppose, why we're talking about him, why he's listed here, I suppose, is that Tiger Dan has had an awakening. He started this project where he was going to map out the flat Earth, taking like measurements from airports, like flight lines and flight distances, and he put it on the azimuthal projection, trying to figure out how the distances should work. But he just couldn't
so
do it.
he was trying to actually kind of do an almost scientific approach?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. I mean, he sort of had the continents, he could move them around on the flat Earth and try to like make them fit how it should be. So like from Brazil to London, it's like 100,000 miles, and then from London to Sydney, it's 100,000 miles. So then it needs to be 200,000 miles between Brazil and Sydney, that kind of stuff. Of course, those are terrible examples, but yeah. And he just couldn't make it work. So he tried a couple of different like map projections, but nothing he did worked. So he started doubting what was going on, and eventually realized that he's basically fallen for a big fucking scam and participated in it as well. I mean, this is the guy who like went out and like measured the curvature of the horizon with a spirit level and shit like that. He made rap videos which are fucking hilarious about like there ain't no curvature, and doing these things finally made him question his beliefs, and slowly but surely you could see through his videos that more and more doubt started creeping in, and now he's actually started making like a video series debunking the flat Earth instead, and it's hilarious to read the comments because of course they got to him.
Seriously?
Tiger Dan speaks like a man who's fearing for his life. Just look at those eyes. There's somebody off camera pointing a gun at him right now. You can tell.
Oh God!
It is so funny. I've had several streams where I've just read those comments.
Some tiny little nagging pit, some tiny little nagging thing at the pit of your stomach. Don't you almost wish you were one of these people?
Who believe the
conspiracies? They live in a so much more interesting world than we do.
Absolutely. The same reason I also wish I was like religious, like a true believer. Because the world is so much more interesting and also so much easier to understand and grasp with these kinds of things existing, be it a god or a global conspiracy like the Illuminati.
We talked briefly about conspiracies, I think, on our very first podcast, and I said it then, and I'll happily repeat it. I don't necessarily think 9/11 was an inside job, but I kind of want it to be.
Yeah.
It's just so much cooler.
And it also is so much more comforting to think that there's a big grand plan behind this thing. It wasn't just some random act of terrorism, but instead it was a big conspiracy from the government. It had a reason to occur, whereas without that conspiracy, it's just random. People just go fucking crazy and kill people. I
disagree with that. If we were talking about a spree shooting, you'd be right. But I mean, if you take the accepted version of the story, what the man tells us, 9/11 wasn't random at all. 9/11 was like an accumulation of a lot of shit building up.
Yeah, true, in a sense. But it could have been the Empire State Building. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could happen tomorrow. There's no reason for it in that sense.
Yeah, but if there's a giant unfeeling conspiracy that I have no connection with, then that feels. But the actions of an unfeeling giant might as well be random to me. The end.
Yes, but not if you are exposing the conspiracy, then you take control of it. You're showing everybody what actually happened. You have the power to explain it. You have the understanding of why something happened. You can see the cause and effect. You can see the consequences. You can see the reasoning behind actions. So the conspiracies you build give you a sense of control in a different sense. Do you understand what I'm getting?
Sounds like you're talking about delusions of relevance.
Yes,
I matter because I must matter, because I can't not matter, because I couldn't live with the idea of not mattering.
Yes, that is very apt.
Well, the point is, we don't. Literally nobody matters. There is literally not a human being alive that matters in any meaningful way.
It's very nihilistic of you.
I mean, prefer existentialistic, but fair enough.
Well, it's nihilistic in the sense that nothing matters. I mean, that's literally nihilism. I agree with you, but I also think that we make our own purpose.
Exactly. Nothing matters. You don't matter. Now go out there and make the best of it.
Exactly. But I mean, you matter to me. You enrich my life in various ways and so on. But eventually, we're both gonna be dead. So in the end, it has not mattered.
And I mean, if you fell sick tomorrow and I gave you a fucking kidney and saved your life,
yeah,
ultimately, down the road, that would be forgotten. Ultimately, that might as well never have happened.
Exactly.
No matter how much it matters to you.
Yeah, that's a thing where people want to be remembered by people. Like they want to have these... They want to do some grand plan to be remembered, you know, like Caesar or Napoleon or whatever, like these grand figures in history. We think like, oh, I want to be like one of those. People learn about them in school and all this thing. But in some 200 billion years, that's probably terribly wrong, the sun is gonna, quote-unquote, explode and the earth is gone, and no matter what kind of memory banks we had, they're gone. And then in 200 trillion years, the universe dies the heat death. So literally nothing will remain.
Also, if you want to get a bit more philosophical, sure, Caesar's name is remembered. Sure, some of Caesar's deeds are recorded in history. Yeah. But the man he was, his hopes and dreams and fears, and who he really was, hasn't that been forgotten for a long, long time?
Yeah. I mean, I could even argue that nobody, aside from Caesar, never knew them. You know,
I wouldn't fight that.
Fuck you. What kind of debate is this? No, but yeah,
we've had this conversation before. Discussion. There are topics that we have deliberately banned from this podcast until we can get someone on that doesn't agree with us, because it would go like this. You know what? Necrophilia, nothing really wrong with it. Yeah,
I agree.
Okay, next topic. And that wouldn't be a fun podcast.
Yes. Also, let's just let that stir. Steam. What is the word?
I don't know what you're saying right now.
Let it simmer with our listeners for a future podcast, because I'm sure they would actually be interested. But we would need a counter argument, because otherwise it's just our talking in circles and circle jerking. Basically,
what's the term you use for the social justice people? Echo chamber.
Echo chamber. Yeah.
We can get a little echo chambery when it's just the two of us.
That is true. So back to the flat Earth.
Oh yeah, we were doing a thing. So he started making videos debunking the thing he'd been campaigning, and the people who used to follow him and believe in him,
they used to support him.
Now think he's doing it under duress, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so then what?
Well, that's kind of where the story ends, unfortunately. It'll be interesting to see where it goes, but it's just really interesting to see how powerful our own mind can be when it comes to fooling ourselves. Sort of how we can just repress things and ignore things and just delude ourselves so powerfully. He actually has realized that he's used a lot of confirmation bias and things like that. He goes through some of the arguments he used for the flat Earth and
picks it apart.
Wait, no, this doesn't actually make any sense now that I think logically about it.
I think
this proves nothing. It doesn't even qualify as circumstantial evidence. Why did I list
I think I've seen some of you've queued some of it at some point.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed is how uncompromising he was in his language, because he doesn't say, and then I said this and turns out I was wrong. No, he says, and then I said this, which is a direct falsehood. It's a complete lie.
Yeah.
The only way you could believe this is if you're deliberately misleading yourself by doing this and this and this.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
completely full of shit.
Yeah, I think he's angry at himself for being fooled, honestly.
How much time
because-
did he spend on this? I mean, if he spent years of his life campaigning...
I mean, he's been at it for at least 2 years, and the amount of hours he's put in. I mean, that map project that I mentioned, he had to start over so many times, and the next video he makes like, alright, so that one didn't actually really work out, put in 50 hours there, but let's try this one. You know, like, oh, ouch, so much time, so much effort.
And then one day he just wakes up and realizes it's all been a pail of shit.
Not really one day. I mean, as I said, you can see the progression in these videos where it's like, oh fuck, this isn't making any sense. No, the Earth is definitely flat. Like, he's still clinging onto that delusion. And even now, he's saying like, alright, so the Earth maybe isn't flat, at least not the way we're told it is, but, I mean, it's definitely not round. So what is it? You know, actually he's gone past that as well, but that was one of the phases he went through, you know, like gradual. But yeah, then he looks back at what he's done before, and it's like, as you say, he's very harsh on himself. Like, I was an idiot to believe this. But he was also really adamant before, like, you have to be an absolute fool to believe that the Earth is round, like the official story is, like that kind of stuff. He talks in a lot of like biblical terms. He like quotes the thing where the fool, like the only man who thinks he has wisdom is actually the fool. I can't remember what the actual Bible quote is, but like that kind of stuff. And like the knowledge from this earth is nothing compared to the knowledge from God. Like things like that, where he sort of explains.
So how is
his belief system.
How is the whole yada yada Jesus bothering thing coming into his disproving the flat earth? Is he still using the Bible?
I honestly, he hasn't really touched on it. He's mentioned it a few times, like, oh, I use these 50 Bible quotes, but he's been kind of avoidant of it.
So he's not using Bible quotes to kind of prove why he was wrong before.
No, at least not yet. But I'm sure he would get there eventually. I think maybe it would be just too jarring. I think his mind is just revolting against the idea of also giving up Christianity. Because
there's a term for that, cognitive dissonance?
Yes, yeah, where you hold two opposing beliefs at the same time.
And your mind basically jumps through hoops to try and make it work.
It's really uncomfortable. Like our brain doesn't like that happening, so we justify things and we screw things around. We try to rationalize things and squeeze them together to make them work somehow. We invent other solutions, other ways for things to actually work. I mean, that's a big thing of the conspiracy theory, conspiracy believers. There's this thing in psychology where if you show somebody evidence against their beliefs, it makes their beliefs stronger, not weaker. They actually incorporate that evidence against their belief into their belief somehow and justify it as being part of the conspiracy or part of God's plan or whatever it is you believe. So if you show a case where what they believe simply isn't true, their mind just makes up an explanation for it, and because they now have this extra piece of evidence, this explanation in their mind, they believe their idea much firmer. It's very interesting to study the psychology of conspiracy theorists. But what do we know? We're just a bunch of shills, right? The word shill should be used more.
I haven't heard it like in connection with conspiracies and stuff before.
Where have you heard it?
Like, this and this celebrity talking about his new Nikes. He's such a shill.
Yeah, I suppose. Although that's kind of a misuse of it. That's more of a sellout, I would say. Because a shill is like when, like a hustler, like a street hustler. The shill is the person who, like a, what the fuck is it called? You know, the shell games, like where you hide a ball underneath cups, and then you get to bet on the right cup, and if the ball is there, you double your money.
The shill is the person that vouches for the scam. You mean?
The shill is the person who goes up and picks a cup
and wins.
And he like lays down $100, picks a cup, and oh my god, you win! Here's $500, and then the crowd like, oh my god, it's so easy to win, and yeah. That's the shill. He's sort of in on the conspiracy, or in on the bluff, in on the trickery. So just being a sellout isn't quite the same thing. Just like marketing something, I wouldn't call a shill in that sense. A shill is somebody who's on the inside but pretending not to be, or
but see, I wouldn't say that someone is a sellout just because they are
no.
Sellout to me implies
is
that
when you abandon your principles.
Yeah,
maybe,
basically
but,
you're compromising your integrity for lucre. Which, by the way, if there are any sponsors or supporters or anything out there, I am totally prepared to compromise any part of anything if I get paid.
Would you, or rather, how much would you have to be paid to tattoo like a brand logo on your face?
On my face?
Yeah, forehead, let's say.
I would have to get paid enough that I could live comfortably and reasonably wealthy the rest of my life.
And what is that number? $10 million?
I think we're in that area. 10 million euros, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think I might be lowballing.
Does it matter what brand?
Not at all. I'll just have it lasered off.
Lower the price or increase the price? Well, that would obviously not be allowed.
Okay, so I have to have it?
To have it. Yes.
I might go lower if it's a really cool looking logo.
yeah, I suppose.
Or I could just get the what is it, Hummel or Adidas, and I could just go to like Russia and just be a celebrity, just be a god. I am the living tracksuit. Worship me.
Yeah.
Just go to the gym, perfect my squatting game. I would be
embodiment of the squat.
They would erect statues to my honor out of empty vodka bottles.
Yes. Shall we broach one last subject? Actually, well, I don't know. I think we are getting to the point where we could start wrapping this up. But before that, let's talk about Donald Trump.
Okay.
Do you follow U.S. politics at all?
No. I kind of catch it out of the corner of my eye every once in a while.
Okay. Can I quiz you?
Sure. Yes. That sounds fun. Let's go.
Okay. How many Republican presidential candidates can you name?
Tom Cruise?
That's close. I'll give you Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz, yeah.
Tom Cruise? Would be fucking awesome. Highway to the
Danger
White
Zone.
House.
Trump?
Yeah. Okay.
I honestly can't name any of them.
Chris Christie?
No. Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring any bell. John Kasich?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Marco Rubio?
I thought he was like a judge or something. But yeah, the name.
That's Antonin Scalia. He just died.
Yeah, I knew that because of Facebook. But
What? Why?
I have a Facebook friend who, through some nerd gaming, who is what's he even called? A lawyer in America, so he's interested in stuff like that. He does shit like on Facebook when they're having a Republican debate.
Supreme Court. Oh, I see.
He will sit in and he will do like a play-by-play just in Facebook comments. Just this guy's saying this now. It's hilarious.
Right.
That. So I kind of, like I say, I catch it out of the corner of my eye sometimes, even though I don't follow it.
All right. Okay. Well, there's plenty more. There's Carly Fiorina, but whatever, it doesn't matter. How many Democratic candidates are there?
Bernie 2016. And Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
And?
Hillary, if you don't vote for me and you're a woman, you're literally voting wrong just to get laid, Clinton.
Women who don't vote for Hillary are going to hell.
She's gone that far?
That's literally what one of her surrogates said on TV.
Nice.
Madeleine Albright, the famous feminist.
Those are the only Democratic candidates I know.
Yeah, there was one more, but he dropped out. I can't recall his name right now, which is annoying. But he never had a chance. So, I don't think this is actually a topic we should be discussing, because you know so little about it, and I don't think you have, that much input to give. But do you have any thoughts, just broadly about Trump? Because Trump, even if you don't know US politics, you know some of what Trump has been advocating.
Oh yeah, I've seen him clothesline Vince McMahon in WWE.
Was he literally in WWE?
He wasn't there as a wrestler, he was there as a special guest. And I think Vince McMahon was the guest referee in a match, and he was about to screw over someone, and Trump ran down to the ring and clotheslined him and got a proper referee. And that's the thing about Trump. Trump is...
he's a reality star.
He's a reality, and he will do what it takes to get his name out there, to make bank.
Yeah.
I would not be 1 second surprised if it was somehow revealed, speaking of conspiracy theories, that Trump actually never thought he had any chance of becoming president, and this is just one big look at Trump thing.
You know what? I honestly believe that his campaign started as that. He was like, holy shit, this is going to be so much free press. Let me go out and be outrageous and controversial and get in the media, and then when it doesn't, I don't get that many votes, I'll just drop out and maybe I'll be an advisor or something like that. But this way I'm going to get my name out there again, and people are like, the Trump brand is going to get really powerful again. I honestly think that is like the original inception of his campaign.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
And then it just turned out that everybody on the right-wing side in America fucking love his ideas. I find him so refreshing to listen to. He's a dum-dum. He's a clown. And I'm saying those words because he speaks like that. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah? Well, Chris Christie, he's a dum-dum. Like, you can't say that in a political debate. But
yes,
at the
you
same
can,
time,
because then you'll have...
Apparently
you'll
can,
have 200 million other people who are like, he's speaking my language, that man.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, a politician that speaks a language we can understand in single syllables.
They analyzed his speeches, and I think he spoke at like a 4th grader level or something like that.
I saw something like someone took all the claims he made and put them through some kind of PolitiFact thing. And it's something like...
put them through.
And it's something like...
like it's a fucking machine.
And it's like 30% of what he says is even remotely true.
Yeah, definitely. But it's very refreshing because he doesn't bow to this sort of normal political nonsense where everybody has to be...
He is definitely not tiptoeing and trying to be Mr. Popular.
Yeah. Everybody has to be like
polished,
uniformal and homogeneous in their thoughts and their actions. They have to stand there on the podium in their suit, and they even point in a special way because their political advisors have told them that you shouldn't point with your finger, just point with your thumb instead.
Honestly,
it makes you look less intimidating, and then you have to speak in a certain tone of voice to encourage people to applaud when you make a certain point.
Yeah, but the people who do that, they're dum-dums.
They really are.
But the thing is, I don't think I will ever agree with Trump's viewpoints. But if he wasn't full of shit, then I would really respect him. If he did what he does, but just went out of there and just spoke nothing but truth at the same time, I would not be able to not respect that.
Yeah, no, definitely. No nonsense candidates are really refreshing.
But because there's apparently, I'm speaking from what little I know, I could be wrong here, but because apparently what he says is just so steeped in bullshit and flim-flam.
And fear-mongering.
Yeah, and that,
xenophobia and stuff
then
like
he's basically just another Republican candidate who's just being less subtle about it.
Now, he's more like a Republican talk radio personality that's suddenly running for president. He's like a Rush Limbaugh or something like
Bill
that.
O'Reilly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Bill O'Reilly is a bit scripted, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because it's so much full of shit and fear-mongering, I feel like he's basically doing what all the others are doing. He's just being less subtle about it.
I think it's genius, though. Like, he goes out, one of his first speeches, we're gonna build a wall between us and Mexico. Yay! And we're gonna make Mexico pay for it! Whoa! Fucking crowd goes wild, everybody. It's the dumbest fucking thing you've ever heard, but people fucking love it, so it works. It's like inexplicable how dumb the average person is.
He's not doing political speeches, he's cutting wrestling promos.
Exactly! It's ridiculous!
Well, let me tell you something, brother. When you mess with the US of A.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's this old saying where, think about the average person, half of them are dumber than that. That's such a scary thought.
I've heard that attributed to Mark Twain, and that wouldn't really surprise me.
No, I guess it might be.
He is so refreshingly misanthropic.
Yeah.
The better I get to know people, the more I love my dog.
That's a great quote as well. But yeah, Trump. He's also got some really weird shit going on. Have you heard any of this where he's like talking about how much he wants to fuck his daughter?
No.
It's like, yeah, my daughter, she's great. She's amazing. She's so beautiful. I mean, if she weren't my daughter, I'd want to date her. Like, you can't say that. I mean, obviously you can say that, but what other presidential candidate speaks like that?
Yeah, but I mean, it's legit. I have a very attractive daughter, and I recognize that she's attractive.
Yeah, but you can't insinuate that you would like to bang your daughter. I mean, it's not politically correct, which is why it's so weird and why it's so funny and why he's so popular, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense for a person to say that if they can objectively see their family as attractive or whatever.
Imagine...
It's not something you say when you're on a fucking stage in front of 10,000 people.
Imagine
it's so
a
weird.
sane person. Like a normal sane person who just went out there and
yeah, I'm talking about like a normie?
And shat all over political correctness the same way Trump does, but from a sane point of view.
Yeah, I mean,
Obama
like,
did
what if
it.
Jon Stewart ran for president or something?
I've basically seen a movie with Robin Williams in the main called Man of the Year, and the plot of that movie is basically he is Jon Stewart, he runs for president, and he gets it.
Yeah. I mean, to defend myself, I didn't mean to imply that Jon Stewart is necessarily a very sane person, but I mean, somebody like that could.
If Trump can do it, Jon Stewart can do it.
Trump is not even that big of a celebrity. Why hasn't Kanye West run for president? He'd fucking win, man.
Someone said that if
on name alone, he wouldn't even have to be in a debate.
Someone said that if
his name is on the ballot, he's gonna fucking win. It's ridiculous.
Apparently,
like Kanye West, Kim Kardashian presidency, vice president.
Apparently, some movie actually had it that Trump runs for president in 2016.
Yeah,
this is a movie from like the 80s or 90s, and then Kanye West runs in 2020. So wait 4 years, look forward to it.
I think there was an announcement recently
in the
where
white
Kanye West
Yeezy.
did mention. There was something where Kanye West did talk about a potential politics career.
I mean,
or like he was gonna run for something.
One of the first things I ever heard about Kanye West was the quote saying, you know, if they'd have written the Bible today, it would have been about me.
Yeah, he's the nucleus of our culture, man. Fucking Kanye West. Kanye West, I mean, there's also something very admirable about people like Trump and Kanye West who are so fucking full of themselves. They have no humility. Humility is not a virtue necessarily. I think it's really impressive when some people just don't have it and they're so proud of their accomplishments. They're so sort of self-important, but not necessarily in like an annoying way, although both of them are.
I feel like the most important virtue is moderation. You should have humility, but not too much. You should have self-importance, but not too much. Take the 7 deadly sins. I love this example. Each of the 7 deadly sins is completely integral and necessary to function as a human being.
Are they?
In moderation.
I guess. Gluttony, eating, sloth, sleeping.
Pride?
Envy?
Come on, envy.
Envy and pride drive you,
exactly,
I suppose,
they're motivators. If you had nothing of that, you wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, you would never want to improve things if you didn't have envy or
no
pride,
rage, no lust. I mean, they should be tempered by moderation, but you need to have at least some of them.
Yeah.
And these are the 7 things basically considered the worst traits by a lot of people. And you need at least a little bit of even those.
That's true. Although I guess, I mean, hunger isn't the same as gluttony. Eating isn't the same as gluttony. But yeah, I mean, I perfectly take your point. It is a very well made one. Did you come up with that yourself? Because it was actually really fun.
But it's kind of a thing I've been stewing for ages.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
So I've had some time to phrase it.
Yeah. What is that thing? The pyramid of needs or something?
Maslow's pyramid of needs?
I guess. I mean, the 7 sins fit into that quite well. All right. Are we about to wrap this up?
No. We have another topic.
We have another topic. Okay.
What's going on with you, man? Do you have who's your crush?
Who's my crush? You mean like who am I dominating?
Well, if you will.
I don't know. I'm not playing any video games.
Got
right
any
now.
heartthrobs?
Heartthrobs? Wait, asking about my health?
So still nothing then?
No. On the romantic, no, not
Good
really.
news. Ladies out there, gentlemen for that matter, let's be inclusive. He's still available.
And everything in between.
Ooh.
You fucking sexist, racist, cis-centric homo erectus.
I know him a little bit, and I'll tell you, if your mouth is big enough, you've got a shot.
That was subtle enough that it even took me a second to understand it.
I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Let's leave it on that mystery for people who don't get it.
For people who haven't heard the other Dopecasts.
Yes. All right. Let's do the regular thing then. If you want to hear more of my inane ramblings, obviously besides subscribing to this YouTube channel or this podcast, which you can also find in your favorite podcast player, you can follow me on... You can follow me on Twitter. I go by Dopefish_lives.
I'm on Twitter at @SirAndersen1.
Why did you have @SirAndersen1?
Honestly, it was because when I tried to make a Twitter, for some reason my browser wouldn't let me go into anything but the mobile site, and I needed to download the app, and everything was terrible. And someone, I think it was XCOM, anyway, someone just frankly got tired of my whining in chat and not getting how to make this work. He just went in, made an account for me, and said, here's the account and the password. Go do shit.
Well, fair enough. All right, and with that, we will say goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.